then. So we said, fine, look, take as much time as you need because, these things, there's a lot more things that are more important than, the band all the time. So Dolores went there and, she really couldn't give us a date of when she could come back to us. So we all decided, look, well, we've talked about this for so long about everybody doing their own thing that maybe now is the right time to do that. And then when we feel, that the time is right again for the band to get back together, that we'll do that. So that's the way it stands right now. Everybody's kind of doing their own little bits and pieces. But, in a year or so, maybe, I talked to Dolores maybe about a month ago.
Yeah.
And we were talking about, when to get back together again and stuff like that. So it will happen. It's just a matter of, we don't have a set date yet. Because I know that Dolores has recorded stuff herself as well. And,
right.
She wants to do her own thing as well. Because we've done the Cranberries for 13 years, and we've never had a chance to kind of get outside of that.
Yeah.
So it makes it more exciting for us. And hopefully the things we've learned from doing our own thing, we can bring back and kind of, make the next album a really good one then as well.
All right. Now, last summer you guys recorded, I think, a 4-track demo that you were using to shop around to different distributors. Did anything come out of that?
Yeah, we've 4 tracks, and we used to play 2 of them anyway live. We've done, I think one we played live was Astral Projection.
Yeah, and In It Together?
Yeah, that's right. So they're recorded. They haven't been mixed because we have rough mixes of them.
Yeah.
And they're kind of in the bag and ready. They're there to go. So, I guess whenever we get round to it again, we've got those 4 songs to fall back on.
Yeah. Can you give us the other 2 titles by any chance?
There was I'm trying to think. I can't remember, to be honest. No, I can check that and get Reiner to email that to you.
Okay.
Because I do have the demo at home. It's so long since I listened to it. I forget the name. But those 3 are definite because we had those 3 kind of for a while. That's how I can remember those clearly.
Okay. Now you guys said you wanted to go off on kind of like an experimental side with like the 6th album, the demos that you did for that. What were your influences for that? Did you guys have any musical influences that inspired?
Well, I guess it's just you're always going to be influenced by everything that's going on, and kind of the music just has kind of changed so much from when we began. There was a time when I swore I'd never ever go near a computer to do anything with music, but then I started to hear what other people had done, especially not kind of the hardcore dance stuff now, but more stuff like even say Moby, that kind of style of music. I got kind of interested in. I thought there's some interesting sounds here, and I didn't want the band to go kind of off into dance realms or anything like that.
Yeah.
But I just thought in the background you could get some interesting sounds, that you can only get in a computer, say.
Right.
That you could kind of try and mix what we do with this together and see what results you could get. So, that was kind of the plan, and that's how initially I came in touch with that programmer I've ended up working with, Matt Bowen.
Yeah.
Because it was something, I'd written a few songs, I wanted to see how they would sound with different kind of samples and things in them, and, and I kind of started to get into it like that.
So there is a good possibility of the Cranberries going on tour at some point in the future?
Oh yeah. Obviously it would be after the album would be recorded, but it's something that I only really, when I think we've gone without doing something or other, and we're just saying how exciting it will be again, to get back and do stuff.
Well, I just had to nag you on the behalf of fans in South America. They're dying for you to come visit them.
Yeah, well, hopefully, obviously, because, this album I'm doing and the one that Oris is doing, you're going to have to, we'll have a year of that, and then by the time we start the next album, record it, you're looking at the bones of 2 years really before the unit will be together as the Cranberries again, touring set. But it will happen at some point.
Okay, this could be a mistranslation. This came out of the Italian press. Dolores was at a press conference in San Remo this year, and she said that it was her call to go on this break, and that you three guys were a little bit disappointed. Is that true?
No, because she rang about, it was her call. She said, look, my mother-in-law is really sick, and, I don't think I can concentrate on both things. And it was me she rang, and the two boys were actually away on holidays at the time. And we were meant to go back into the studio. I think it was, would have been September, October kind of thing. So I think, when the boys came back, I said to them, look, Dolores got this stuff to deal with, so we're not going to be recording in the near future. So I guess they were disappointed initially. Obviously they kind of, I didn't bother ringing them when they were on holidays because I just wanted them to enjoy themselves doing that. So, I'm sure that's what she was referring to when she said it, but, a couple of weeks later, everybody was fine, and, just kind of got used to the idea and started planning what everybody was going to do for themselves during this time.
Okay. Someone asks, after you and Dolores finish promoting your solo works, do you think there'll still be lots of material left over for the Cranberries in their 6th album?
Yeah, I'm sure, because we're lucky in that we kind of write constantly. Like I have found so it's never been a problem for us to, to write. It's just, you get a bit picky, I guess, then you want, to try and get the best songs that you can. You can write, in an 8 or 9 month period, you can probably write maybe 8 or 9 songs. But sometimes you think, well, 5 of these songs are kind of crap, 4 are worth doing, and you follow those, But that's what kind of takes the time always, is kind of weeding out the ones you think aren't as strong as the strong ones.
Dolores said in an interview last year that you guys were really trying to do that now with some of your newer stuff, that you'd write a lot, but you'd only pick a little bit out.
Yeah, exactly. Like sometimes I could send Dolores a tape or a CD or whatever with 4 kind of rough ideas in it, and sometimes she might pick none, sometimes she might pick 1, and we would kind of chop through them like that. The good thing is that with the ones you feel aren't as strong, you end up kind of chopping those up and kind of putting maybe 2 bits of them together, and they make a better song later on. It's not like you ever kind of forget them. Most of them I do keep kind of records of, and when I'm trying to get a chorus or something for a song, I kind of think, oh, remember that I had in whatever song months ago. You dig it out and use it again, and it worked great this time.
Okay. This is the last Cranberries related question. In August 2002, while you guys were in Hong Kong, you filmed a new documentary, but it wasn't finished in time to release with stars. Do you think we'll get a chance to see it sometime?
Yeah, I'm not sure really, because we did a lot of stuff like that. There's a lot of kind of unfinished stuff there, so maybe someday, that could be all put together, because I think it would be great someday to kind of do a proper full-length kind of documentary. I think it's something we've always been interested in a bit.
All right. Now, you made some news earlier this year because you have invited fans to submit names for your solo album.
Yeah.
So the question is, do you have a winner?
It's really hard. It's been. I tried myself first for ages, and I just couldn't come up with anything. It was kind of the ones I did come up with had been taken already, or even things like companies had them, or and you got to be careful about that.
Right.
So we got a great response when we put it on the net, and there was so many. We've just sat there and go through them all. But we kind of have a short list now, and I'd say, because I'm running out of time as well, that I'd say in the next 6 to 8 weeks I'll have a winner.
All right. What made you decide to hold a contest other than not being able to come up with something yourself?
Well, that was the main reason. I was here in the office and I couldn't think of it. And one of the guys who's been with us for years, the Set, I don't know if you know him, you might have met him, he's our tour manager with us. And he kind of said to me, you should think about doing this. And I thought, I went home and thought about it. I thought, that's a great idea. And it gets kind of the fans involved as well.
Yeah.
Which is something, we've always tried to do. So that's what we did. I met some guys who work in there's a huge art college here in Limerick. So I met up with them and we sat down and kind of trashed out the idea for the website. And it was great. It turned out great.
What were you going for in a title? Fans had a really hard time, me included, coming up with ideas since we have no idea what your solo stuff sounds like.
Yeah, but I guess, obviously without anyone hearing it, I was trying to get something that would sum up the music. Now, I know that's really hard without hearing it, but, I kind of figured somebody was stumbling onto something for me.
So were you looking for, funny, serious, witty?
Yeah, kind of witty enough, witty alright, but I guess it had to be a little bit serious, but not kind of in the world.
Alright. Celtic Yodels from Syria asks, how far back does some of your solo material go? And is there any that you wrote with the Cranberries but then decided maybe somebody other than Dolores should sing on it?
Well, I guess the first few I had written when would have been around the time we were recording those 4 songs we spoke about earlier. Like I said, I keep writing all the time, and there was 2 I'd written that I kept, that I was thinking, right, these 2 sound like, I could take them somewhere else.
Yeah.
And I hadn't really thought about the vocal thing or anything at that point. Like I said to you, we had intended on, doing another album, so I was just kind of writing for the Cranberries still at that point. So that's when I guess it would have been around February or March of last year that I first got in touch with Matt, and I brought the songs very raw, just basically the guitar part in, to this little room that he works out of, and started working on them. Then, and because it was a new kind of way of writing for me, it took a few months for me to kind of get to a point where I was happy with them. And then at that point, we had decided that we weren't going to do another album. So that's when I started thinking, okay, well, it was what really initially gave me the idea of, I was kind of going, well, I have these songs started, and, maybe it might be interesting to see what they sound like with other people singing on them. And that sparked the idea really then, which is what became this album.
Now, we know the name of 2 of your collaborators, Alexander Hammead and Richard Walters, who's I think is going to record next month. Cran Lady 1981 asks, with whom else are you going to work, and are there going to be any big surprises?
Well, there's a few different is doing 1 track.
Really?
Yeah. And there's a girl called Kate Habnevik. She's a Norwegian girl who's kind of got a bit of a buzz about her over here at the moment. She's on 2 other tracks. There's a guy, he's from a French band. The band are called Overhead.
Yeah.
His name is Nicholas. I can't even pronounce his second name, so I won't attempt it. But he's a singer with them. He's got an amazing voice. He sounds kind of like Jeff Buckley, kind of.
Oh, okay.
So he's done another track, and he's actually working on a second one at the moment.
I was reading some reviews for Richard Walters, and someone else compared him to Jeff Buckley.
Yeah, he's kind of got that vibe as well. I'm in with him. We're doing his track not next Tuesday, but the following Tuesday.
Ah, okay.
I have it booked in with him. And I guess the last guy I can think of offhand is there's a guy, he's in a band here, they're an Irish band called Woodstar,
Oh, okay.
And the singer with them, he's done 2 tracks. These were the first 2 tracks I did because I know him pretty well.
Yeah,
And I
you
kind of,
guys they've opened for you, right? In
yeah,
Ireland.
that's right. They did some gigs here with us, and they're doing their second album at the moment. So I got him between albums, kind of, to work on 2 tracks with me. He's got quite an interesting voice, very high voice he has, So he'd actually done stuff. Their first album was produced by Stephen as well.
Huh.
So I got to meet him through a bunch of different people, and so he's done some tracks. And there's some instrumentals on there as well.
Yeah.
There was one I did where I had a sitar player brought in.
Oh, okay.
Because it had a very kind of Middle Eastern type of vibe to it, and I just thought that this would feel good. Then I worked with Marius DeVries on that track, and he brought over it, and it's quite interesting. It's completely different to anything I've done before, so it's quite varied. Some of it's quite rocky, some of it's, very laid back. But I guess it's a lot more, it is electronic sounding, some of it, because, the majority of it was done on computers.
Let's see. Carrie from Spain asks, now we know Mike and his wife just had a baby, and Ferg's studying programming at home. Do they have any projects in mind for their time off?
Well, I know that Ferg has started writing stuff.
Yeah.
I heard a few bits of it, and I know that he's working with a few people here, a few local guys in Limerick. So, he's definitely, I'm not sure how many songs he's got done yet. I know because he's played on two of the tracks for me. I can't play drums on. So, but he's working away. He's definitely working with different people, and he really's gotten into the whole, programming side of things as well.
What kind of promo are you anticipating to do for your solo CD? Is it going to be like maybe a promo tour, or?
Yeah. The plan is I'm kind of, I have a couple of more vocals to finish, and then I've got kind of half the stuff mixed. I just got to mix the rest of it. So by September, I should be finished kind of the bones of the recording, and then the plan is to start rehearsing with a band. I've already approached different people that I know. They're just kind of friends of mine that I've played for years, and to kind of start learning the parts and working through it, and to do some showcase gigs then, kind of across Europe and then over to the States.
Awesome.
So we're looking, I'm talking about January to start doing that.
Okay.
I'll probably start doing other promo, it's somehow or other before Christmas, just a kind of a sampler even for people to hear, and then come January start touring proper.
All right. Mona asks, what kind of message are you hoping to convey with your album, or what do you hope people will get out of it?
It's kind of like I said earlier, it varies a lot, so there's a lot of different moods in it. Some of it is very, very atmospheric. The most of the people that I've played it to or have worked with, they all, because I'm giving them basically instrumental parts more or less finished for them to do vocal parts over. And, a lot of people have said it's very kind of cinematic is the vibe they got off it. Kind of, it's stuff that they thought without even a vocal on there that you would hear kind of in a movie in the background. Obviously not the more rocky ones, but hopefully when people listen to it, that it takes them kind of through a lot of different feelings, because there's, some kind of hard-hitting moments, some kind of happier moments, and then there's quite kind of, sad moments, I guess, in it.
That's interesting you mentioned cinematic. Someone asked if you're considering doing any movie music.
Well, it's something that the publisher I'm with at the moment has approached me about. They have a girl there that she does what they call sync, which is basically movies, TV and cinema. And when she heard the stuff, she approached me and said, would I be interested in doing stuff, solely for movies, which is something, myself and Dolores have always talked about.
Yeah.
It's something that we've, always been interested in. So I said to her, look, let me finish this and see what happens after that before, I don't want to commit to anything else right now. Just get this done. And, and kind of, probably do the band then after that and then see. It's just trying to fit it all in, to get the time, because that, I would imagine, takes up a lot of time as well.
Pretty simple guitar arrangements, but in later works like New York Stars, Wake Up and Smell the Coffee, we can hear that your guitar playing has become a little more complicated. Do you think we'll be able to hear more of that in your new solo work?
Yeah, I think so, because what I started doing, I did it first on that track, In It Together, was I'd always just used, the regular tuning on the guitar, and I met a guy who he was one of the guitar techs on tour, and he was saying to me, have you ever tried, alternative tuning? So I'd heard of it, but never really tried it. And then he gave me a bunch of tunings, and basically the whole album has been written around these. I guess it's 6 or 7 tunings that I've been using. It's like learning guitar again. It's opened it up completely for me. It's been incredible, because sometimes you feel like you're running out of ideas when you're just using the regular tuning. You've used it for so long.
Actually, someone asked a question about that, if you're planning to use different tunings or open tunings.
Yeah, basically every song is a completely different tuning, which is, it's fine in the studio when I'm writing, but I haven't even thought about how I'm going to approach it live yet.
Yeah.
Because, obviously you can't have, whatever, 12 or 13 guitars. It'd be crazy. So,
especially after you give one away in the contest.
Yeah, exactly. So I'll have to work that out yet. But it is, and because of doing this, it's kind of opened it up completely, and it's given me a lot more freedom playing-wise, and a lot more confidence as well, I think.
All right. Mums wants to know, do any of the band members plan to start a record label now that you've left Universal?
It's something we have dabbled with. We've definitely talked about it over the years. I think we would feel better if we did it, as the 4 of us, instead of individuals, because financially, it's a lot to pump it. So it's not something I would completely, kind of turn my back on, but at some point, it's something we might dabble in.
Okay, and a related question someone asks, are you disillusioned with the whole music business machine, especially in regards to lack of support you guys received from your last label? How do you think things will change in the future as far as how the Cranberries are promoted and you are promoted, and what lessons have you learned?
It is, there are moments when you're made a lot of promises, and then, obviously these things don't happen, and you do get seriously pissed off then. And you kind of wonder why you bother half the time, because, you're doing it, no one's getting to hear it, and, it does annoy you a lot. But then kind of when you sit back and you kind of relax, and you kind of start to realize, well, this is the way it's gone on for years, We were lucky in the beginning. We were very successful, and we had them at our beck and call. But, as time goes by, they get used to, they get a lot of newer acts who are more successful, so they go to them. And you just kind of, once you realize that that's just the way the game is played, you kind of don't get upset about it as much as you probably should sometimes. But, I think at the moment, it's no secret that the record companies are all in a lot of trouble. With downloading, it's kind of, every week you pick up a newspaper or whatever, one of those industry papers, and another company, is after firing another 20 people or whatever. It's kind of, they're struggling. But I think their problem is that they're not willing to they haven't embraced the whole internet thing yet. That's
what I was going to ask you next. The official site said you were considering making your new album available through downloads. Are you still considering doing this? Yeah,
it's the way it's going. It's you can't turn your back on it. It's like saying when CDs came out,
Mm-hmm.
you know, I'm sticking to vinyl. You know, I'm ignoring it. I don't want to release it. You know, it's the same thing. Whatever, 10 years ago. Like, I personally find I love going into a record shop, wandering around for an hour or two,
Yeah.
you know, checking out covers and that type of thing. But, you know, that's not everybody's cup of tea. And, you know, let's be honest, who doesn't download something?
Yeah.
You know.
Okay. Ian from Italy, who runs the great site Cran Portal, an Italian site, says we've heard that a song called "Brighter Sky" might be used as a single. Is that
Yeah,
right?
that's the one with the sitar on it. The one I've done with Marius DeVries. It's the most kind of, I guess, it's the most different song that I've ever, you know, done compared to the Cranberries stuff. And that's why I was thinking, you know, for an initial track to come out, to have something that's completely different so that people kind of hear straight off the bat that it isn't the same thing exactly again. So we haven't made any decisions on that yet, but it is kind of, there's about 3 tracks that we're kind of throwing around as the first single from it. I'm at the moment in the process of trying to get another remix of it done, because it's very much an upbeat type of song.
Yeah.
And I was going to try and get like a remix done of it to put on the B-side as well, for clubs and that type of thing.
Yeah.
So I'm just going through different remixers at the moment to kind of see what we're going to do with that. The other option we were thinking is just not releasing it as a kind of official single, but maybe doing it as a kind of a white label 12-inch.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Maybe print up, you know, maybe about 2,000 copies, and, you know, give them to people, or, you know,
send them to clubs, that sort of thing.
Send them out, yeah, you know, over the net even, or something, or, you know, it might become available as a download even, or something like that.
Now, we know that you've been working with Marius DeVries and also Stephen Street now on this album, is that right?
Yeah. Fine on my own to do the music, you know, because it was just me in a room, or me with Matt, and, you know, we kind of, you know, got used to each other, so I felt confident enough to deal with that, you know, trying to learn how to play different parts, learn on keyboards and bass. But when it came to the vocal, because I was bringing in outside people that I wouldn't have known that well, I maybe would have talked to, you know, 2 or 3 times before, I was just worried that I'd get them in, and then, you know, I've never recorded a vocal in my life, so I was kind of going, you know, what if I get them in and then I'd make a balls of it or something like that. So I got in touch with Steve, because we kind of stay in touch all the time anyway, and he was interested, you know, in what I was doing anyway. So I asked him as a favour, would he mind? He has a small studio in London now,
yeah,
that he uses down in Olympic, and I knew he had this room that he's done a lot of vocals in. So I asked him as a favour to me, would he mind, you know, I'll just show up with the track basically, and, you know, will you produce the vocal parts for me? So he was delighted to do that. So I've done, I guess, it must be 6 or 7 tracks with him done the vocal parts at this point. I might get him to mix 2 of them at the moment, the kind of more very much guitar oriented ones, you know, because I've always liked the guitar sounds that he's got for me. So like, we haven't done that at the moment, that's still kind of up in the air, but that's what I've done with Stephen so far. And with Marius, it was just 1 track that I had, this Brighter Skies track, that, you know, I had it finished. There was just something I felt it needed, and I wasn't sure, you know, I'd done as much as I thought I could on it. So Marius had done a couple of bits for us before, and I'd liked the sound that he'd gotten. So I just, you know, we approached him, and he said send him the track. He was really busy. If he liked it, you know, he'd work in it, which he did. And, you know, I've actually never met
now, so Stephen's handled a lot of the vocal parts.
Yeah.
you say. And Super Vago from Spain wants to know who's been responsible for the lyrics.
It's each individual singer.
Okay.
You know, they've all gotten back to me and said, look, is there anything you don't want? You know, is you do want there? And I just said, look, if I knew that, I'd write the stuff myself. You know.
Yeah.
So it's just do what you think is right and send it to me, and then, you know, I'll make the decision then. Because I have worked with some people and it hasn't worked out. You know, not many now. There's only been 2 or 3
Yeah.
that, you know, did parts, and I just thought, you know, no offense, but it's just not what I was looking for that song. And you know, they've been fine. So.
And I believe this is the last question. Adam from California wants to know what kind of pedals do you use, and what's the name of the pedal used in the Daffodil Lament?
The pedal, it's actually not a pedal. It's a thing called an ebo. It's a small little. It's like a magnet that you hold over the strings, and it vibrates the magnet or vibrates the strings, and then you play the notes. You can get them, you know, in any good guitar shop, basically. It takes a while to get used to it because it makes the guitar very loud. So there's a lot of positioning to be done, and about a month at it usually gets it. You know, you get it perfected pretty well.
Yeah.
And the pedals, like there's hundreds. You know, I could be here all day. To be honest, there's, you know, just your regular kind of Boss pedals you'd buy anywhere. You know, but what I've done is I've put it on into like a big rack unit that's controlled by one big pedal, and that's called a Bradshaw unit. It's a guy in California makes these, and you basically give him everything you own. He puts it on this unit and gives you back one little pedal board, which is what you have in. What are they using?
All right. Well, lots of people wanted to say hi. I don't have time to mention them all.
No problem.
And thank you so much for doing this for us.
No, honestly, thank you. You know, because the reason I started Center Runner because I check out the site every week.
Yeah.
You know, to see, in case I haven't, you know, sometimes I don't talk to the guys. You know, I might see Dolores for a few weeks or Farg or Mike, and sometimes I check out to see if you have any news about them.
Yeah.
That you would know that I wouldn't. So it's, you know, it's a great site. You do really good.
Thank you very much. I try to keep it all accurate. That's the hardest thing.
Yeah, it's amazingly up to date, which is what, you know, impressed me as well. You know.
And it's very hard to get accurate news these days with you guys on break.
Yeah, but hopefully over the next few months, you know, there'll be more stuff coming out with, you know, with me doing this, and, you know, I think Dolores is quite near, you know, near the end of her thing as well.
Really?
So, you know, between both of us, hopefully we keep you busy.
Any idea when Dolores's might be out?
I'm not sure yet. I know that she was in LA earlier or late last week, kind of having different meetings with different people as well.
Oh yeah.
You know, so you know, I would imagine, to be honest, it's so late in the year now that it wouldn't be until January or February as well, because to get something out now, you know, before the Christmas rush, is kind of, it's impossible.
Right.
I had hoped myself to have mine out, you know, by this time, this summer.
Yeah.
But, you know, there's so many unforeseen things that happen.
Right.
That, you know, it's always, you got to add on months, and then...
It's always harder than it looks, isn't it?
Yeah, you know, it's incredibly hard, especially when you're doing it on your own.
Yeah.
Because you've had the comfort of 3 other people to bounce things off of for so many years. But, like, you know, you do get there. It's, you know, as I'm discovering finally.
Well, I
I'll see you soon.
Yeah, we hope so too.
Great.
Come to the States.
I will, definitely. I just got back, actually. I was on holiday in LA. I just got back this day last week. I did the photos for the album cover there.
Oh yeah, really?
Yeah, so they're done. It's just a matter of picking the one that I don't look too bad in, I suppose.
maybe Reiner could send us a sneak peek of those.
Yeah, I'm sure he could as soon as we get, the guys just, I picked out, he did like 600 shots.
Really?
So I picked 20 earlier in the week, and he said by the end of this week he kind of, doctor them up or whatever they do, to kind of do the proper finished versions. So hopefully by the end of the week he'll have some, get Reiner to send 1 or 2 over to you.
Alright, that would be awesome.
Great.
Okay, thanks again.
Okay, thank you.
Cheers.
Bye-bye.
Goodbye.
Bye, thanks, Alex. Bye.
Yeah, bye.